Rose Tyler's appearances in season 4 of Doctor Who are an opportunity to solidify her growth from when we saw her in season 2. There's been a long time gap. We don't really know how many years, probably like in her timeline, like 2 years. But a lot happens. A lot has happened. And really bring the message of her previous character arc back to the audience and the Doctor as a character. A few weeks ago, I posted a video rewriting Rose's arc in season 2. And one of you guys commented asking how that would impact Rose's appearances in season 4. So we're gonna run through the appearances of Rose Tyler in season 4 and look at how they would change. I'm going to be looking at how characters can come back and how we can wrap up their appearances in the story and send them off into their own lives away from the main narrative. Rose as a character in my rewrite has grown in independence and confidence in her own intelligence. Her arc in season 2, especially in the later half, was to gain confidence in her abilities and her own opinions and decisions away from the Doctor. And she leaves him at the end of season 2 of her own volition. With her appearances in season 4, we are really able to solidify her growth and show how much more confident she is in her abilities now. Now, the first time we see Rose is when she meets Donna in Partners in Crime. And this is the scene where it's supposed to be like a big reveal. The only real purpose of this scene is for shock value. This appearance doesn't seem to tie into any of the other appearances that Rose has throughout the rest of season 4. She's not distressed or irritated like she is in Turn Left or in the other small bits we see from her when she's on the screens. I think one way that this appearance could have been utilized is if we had more urgency. This could have been done through Rose having some off-screen dialogue for a second, not really revealing her yet, but implying that she's looking for someone or looking for something, and someone asking her if she's all right, implying that she's like distressed. And when she meets Donna, she realizes who Donna is after Donna's walked away. And when she vanishes, she is reaching out, trying to call Donna back, but vanishes before she can call out to her. And this would really tie into the other appearances we have from Rose Tyler throughout the season. Because when we see her later on, she is in a much more dramatic state. She is shouting at the Doctor through these screens, which we never actually find out how she did that, if I remember correctly. But that's beside the point. I feel that this scene in particular isn't on the same emotional level as the others. Now we're going to move on to Turn Left. Turn Left gives us a full look of who Rose Tyler is in this new mentality, and is the first episode that we have her pretty much fully there. She does come and go, but in this case it is much more like she's being pulled back and forth from the different parallel worlds. She's much more frustrated in this version and confused because it's like, why am I randomly being pulled back and forth? In Turn Left, Rose is really operating under the mantra of what would the Doctor do, and really steps into the role of the Doctor when he is not around in this little pocket universe around Donna. With the nature of Rose's return in season 4, we don't need to put together a new character arc. This form of return doesn't really need a character arc for her. It is more to establish who she is now and gain some kind of closure for her character. In the story circle and the plot embryo, this is the flourish area of the character arc. The flourish stage is really when the character has taken on this new mentality and is walking about the world, or in Rose's case, the universe, and living by this new mentality. And bringing Rose back really establishes her character in this new mindset. And that's what we are trying to do here. It is not about her growing, it's about establishing who she is and gaining closure. The thing missing from Turn Left is establishing what Rose brings to the fight against the Daleks in this final stand. She doesn't seem to have a plan past getting back to the universe where the Doctor is still alive. Even her message to Donna at the very end doesn't really play into anything. It's more of a callback to season 1 with the whole Bad Wolf plotline. Correct me if I'm missing something, but the Bad Wolf message could have also just been telling Donna her name. Establishing a character plan does not have to be long exposition dumps. In this case, where it could have gone is when we have the scene with Rose and Donna on the park bench, where Rose goes through how Donna saved the Doctor's life with Arachnos and really gives her the rundown of everything that's happening. In this situation, it could have been 1 or 2 lines of dialogue where Rose explains that they need to get back to that universe so that they can get help to the Doctor, so that all of them can stop the Daleks, that it's not just him that needs to stop them, and that she has something that can help. This would establish that Rose has something up her sleeve that we don't know about yet, and that her being there is actually important. That it's not just her emotional connection to the Doctor that's bringing her back, but something that she can do personally. Bringing characters back for shock value or fan service can only get you so far. And giving your characters some kind of agenda or plan for what they're doing is very important, especially in big shows like this with so many characters. All the other characters have some kind of plan or something that they end up doing, but Rose is just kind of there in the episode. Stolen Earth doesn't have a lot of Rose scenes, but the one that I think could have been lost is the one where Rose literally threatens some teenagers with a massive gun. This is so weird. Like, I don't understand. Every time I watch this episode, I'm like, why is Rose threatening these kids with a giant gun? It just doesn't really make sense with her character. And I get that it's kind of building up to Davros's whole thing of, like, you take ordinary people and turn them into killers. But Rose, explain yourself. Like, there was no motivation for this. The kids were doing, like, what everyone else was doing. So I think that scene could have been cut and it wouldn't have done anything further to Rose's character or the plot. It's just unnecessary. I don't really understand why it was there. Rose finding the Doctor was her main plan for a few episodes. For basically the whole, like, lead up to this. But it also seems like she didn't really have a plan past finding him. And this is circling back to what I was talking about, where it's important to give your characters something beyond just connecting with other characters. Unless that's important to the plot, it should have something to do with what they can bring. Especially in big episodes like this, it's important for each character to play their part. It's like a game of chess. Like, what can this piece do and when are we gonna move it? Each of them have to move, but you have to pick your moment. So, what can Rose do in this situation besides find the Doctor? Narratively, Jack is actually more important than Rose. This is because he can help by connecting them to Torchwood. There isn't actually a connection that Rose has in this situation that helps them in the fight against the Daleks. So adding something on that she has up her sleeve would really help, because everyone else in this TARDIS team has something. Sarah Jane has Luke and Mr. Smith. Jack has Torchwood. Martha has Unit. I mean, Unit doesn't really get utilized near the end, but she still has some kind of plan. The parallel world trio doesn't really do much in the way of helping them fight against the Daleks. The big scene we get for Rose in this episode is the reunion scene between her and the Doctor. In this case, Rose is not only trying to be reunited with the Doctor, she also has her own plan that the Doctor is a part of. So when they're running to reunite with each other, there's also this undertone where Rose needs him to implement her own plan. And when the Doctor is shot by the Dalek and starts to regenerate, her fear is no longer that he's changing into a different person. Her fear is that they can't afford to have a passed out Doctor like the last time he regenerated. And that is the only time that she's known him to regenerate, so she doesn't know that that doesn't always happen. The fear is present, but it's completely different fear. And doesn't feel quite like a repeat of the last time this happened, where Rose was constantly like, is this still you? She is not thinking quite as emotionally in this version. She is thinking a lot more strategically and logically. Journey's End is the biggest episode so far and serves as a farewell to Rose Tyler. It serves as a great bow on the top of Rose's character arc, as she encounters all the people throughout the run of the revival so far. The task here with this little rewrite is to really stay faithful to Rose's character arc from season 2 and to see her implementing her confidence in the situations that she now finds herself. In the scene where they're in the TARDIS and Rose is talking about the universe collapsing and all the stars going out, we need to bring up Rose's plan. This needs to be not only about her coming back to see the Doctor. With this in mind, the new version of Rose is on a mission. Her and the Doctor do talk, but it's on much more of an intellectual level. And it's a lot less flirty than we see them in the actual show. This moment is when Rose reveals her plan and how she would really go about taking down the Daleks. They do talk about this in the actual episode, that Rose has seen the effects of this in her parallel world because they're running a bit further than them. Maybe she has tried other things from the parallel world and knows more than the Doctor and Jack right now. I'm not sure what her plan would be, but it needs to be something. At this point, the plan up her sleeve has been revealed, and her, the Doctor, and Jack are like debating what their best course is in this situation. The next scene I would touch on is the scene where the Doctor and Rose are in the containment thingies, in the containment beams of light. And this is when Martha comes up on the big screen and they have a little introduction and Martha says, "Oh my God, he found you." I think with this adjustment, Rose's reaction would be very different, because with how they parted in season 2, Rose's departure now was much more decided, and she was comfortable and confident with her decision. It wasn't fully what she wanted, but she made the decision and she was clear about what was going to happen. So hearing that the Doctor was still searching for her and that he was like pining after her really would hit a different nerve in her. And I feel like she would be more confused or more annoyed at that fact. And with my thoughts on Martha, I feel like that would serve both of them better. Now we move on to the big final scene of Rose Tyler's run, and that is the departure scene in Journey's End on Bad Wolf Bay. This scene would need serious alterations because there's a lot going on that doesn't make sense anymore. This is the big tie-up of Rose Tyler's arc and the final farewell to this character. In this, Rose is the one that wants to go home, and she is, again, content with her situation there. She has her family, she has Jackie, she has Pete, she has her new little brother, Tony. She is well adjusted now, and by this time, Rose and the Doctor have really seen how much each of them has grown beyond each other. They've both grown in independence and, well, maybe Rose more than the Doctor. This is not to say that they couldn't be together, but I feel like Rose is well adjusted in this new life, and she's not willing to give up her safety and security with her family in this parallel world. With the scenes that came earlier, this would be the moment where Rose calls out the Doctor one more time. This would be when she really enforces that he needs to move on and let her go. The scene takes on a different kind of tone as the Doctor and Rose talk about what happens now. I think the important thing is that there's no forced romance between Rose and the meta-crisis Doctor, because this is far too forced. I feel that through the dialogue, we really get a sense that the meta-crisis Doctor is not the 10th Doctor, and his mentality right now is very much the 9th Doctor. And the 9th Doctor and Rose did not really have a romantic relationship. So going from that, I don't feel like it is necessary to put them into a romantic relationship. I feel like the better course of action would be for Jackie to offer that the meta-crisis Doctor stays with them. And they do take care of him, but it's not all on Rose, because this situation is not the same as if the 10th Doctor stayed with her. The meta-crisis Doctor would live with Jackie and Rose and Pete and all that, and maybe they would work up to being in a romantic relationship, but that's not something that needs to be forced and said outright in this moment. I feel like that really does a disservice to Rose and makes it too fast. Like, it's way too, like, oh, he loves me, he whispered this thing in my ear, and now I'm just gonna throw myself at him. And I don't feel like, especially with these adjustments, that's not who Rose is. She's very independent and very logical and doesn't quite think in that way anymore. This last scene really emphasizes Rose's confidence in her opinions, and she is not afraid to voice her opinions, as we've seen through this adjustment of the episode. So she is standing up to the Doctor, and she is saying that she's not going to be a therapist to the meta-crisis Doctor. Instead, it's going to be like this. And she tells him that he needs to let her go. And that really, I feel like that would really hit the 10th Doctor and would lead us into the farewell to Donna, where it's like, there goes another one, and it's like all of them are just kind of gone. When you're writing character returns or the end of a character arc, it's important to remember that all your characters need to have agency. They need to all have something that they're trying to do past the relationships that they have. Every character has something that they're trying to achieve, especially in big finales. I want you to ask what your characters want in this story, and look into how their actions can play into the bigger character arc that they've worked through already. A returning character is really a chance to establish this new mentality for a character and look at how they operate now in this new mindset. That's it from me for this video. Let me know down in the comments if there's any other topics you want me to cover, and I'll be sure to get to them. And leave a like. I'm going to be doing a video next week on the Christmas special of Doctor Who, and then I'll be branching out into other shows until it comes back. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.